were 6 years old when they kissed you goodnight. Your dad had just finished washing the dishes, and your mom was still humming something soft, the way she always did when she was getting ready to leave. They tucked you in, pulled the blanket up to your chin, and told you they'd be back right after dinner with Grandma. You said, okay, because that's what a good kid says, even though you didn't like when they left at night. But they smiled, and you believed them. You always believed them. You waited for them in bed, like they said. You counted the minutes in your head. 1, 2, 3, up to 30, then maybe 100. It got quiet in the house. So quiet you could hear the fridge breathing. You got up and looked out the window, but the driveway was still empty. You sat back down, hugged your stuffed bear, and whispered to the dark, "Come home soon." But they didn't. You fell asleep sometime after that. But what woke you wasn't the sound of the door opening. It was the smell, like something too warm, like meat left out in the sun. And then their voices. "We're home," they said. You ran down the hall, happy again, ready to hug them. But when you saw them, your legs stopped moving. They looked like your parents. Same clothes, same hair, same eyes. But they were smiling too wide, like someone had told them how to smile and they tried too hard. Your dad's head was tilted just a little too far, like his neck wasn't holding right. And your mom blinked, too slow, like she was remembering how. You said, "You're back," and they nodded. They said, "Of course, we never left." They tucked you back in, just like before, but their hands were cold now. Not cold like outside air, cold like under a rock. You tried not to shake when they kissed your forehead. And that night, when they read you a bedtime story, it wasn't about bears or bunnies or faraway lands. It was about skin. They told you about the things that live underneath it. Things that crawl and wait and eat from the inside out. They smiled when they said, "Some skin doesn't even belong to people." You laughed because you thought it was a joke. But they didn't. The next morning, they made you breakfast. The eggs were gray, and the milk was thick. You didn't eat it, so they just sat across from you and watched. They didn't blink for a long time. You started to ask where Grandma was. Your dad said, Grandma wasn't hungry enough. You didn't know what that meant. You asked once about your real mom. Just once. It slipped out during lunch. You didn't mean to say it, but it was too late. They stopped chewing. Your fake mom looked at you and said, "She tasted like fear." Your dad laughed, like that was the funniest thing in the world. And then they stared at you for a long time. You didn't ask again. The days got slower after that. You couldn't tell how many had passed. They never left the house again. They just stood in doorways, watching, sometimes whispering. You didn't know to who. Sometimes, in the middle of the night, they sat on the edge of your bed and stared at your face until morning. They didn't move. They didn't sleep. Just watched. Once, you tried to leave. You packed a small backpack and opened the front door. But the street was wrong. The houses were bent. The sky was too low. And something was in the yard. Something tall and thin that smiled without a mouth. You closed the door and never tried again. They kept reading you stories at night, but they started sounding like rules. Never touch mirrors when the lights are off. Never answer the phone if it rings after midnight. If you ever hear your real parents calling your name from outside, do not open the window. You asked why, and they said, because their mouths are gone. One night, you found something. It was under the floorboard, a small shoe, your size, but you didn't lose any shoes. You asked them about it, and they said, you lost more than you remember. Then they laughed again. That same dry laugh, that didn't sound like your dad. You put the shoe back and never looked there again. Your bear started talking to you, only at night. You tried to tell your parents, but they said you were dreaming. But the bear said something different. It told you the people in the house were hollow, that they wore your parents' skins but didn't know how to be them. It told you your real mom cried for days before they took her eyes. You told the bear to stop talking, but it didn't. It never did. One morning, You woke up and your bedroom door was gone. Just a wall where it used to be. You touched it, and it felt soft, like skin. You screamed. They came into the room anyway. They didn't use the door. They didn't have to. Your fake dad said, "You're almost ready." Ready for what? You don't ask. Not anymore. And that night, when they sang you to sleep, the words weren't words. They were wet sounds, like chewing, and something moved inside the ceiling. You opened your mouth to scream, and then everything went quiet. You wake up, and the wall where your bedroom door used to be is gone. Not a door, not a wall, just space, like someone erased it. The hallway outside doesn't look like your hallway anymore. It stretches too far, too dark, too quiet. You wait for your fake parents to say something, to laugh like they always do, but they're not there. Not this time. You call out. No one answers. You step into the hall barefoot. The floor is cold. Not cold like tile, cold like breath. The lights don't turn on. You move anyway. Step by step, you pass by your old drawings on the wall. But now the faces in them are scratched out. Even your face is gone. It's like someone didn't want to remember what you looked like. You walk past the kitchen, and the fridge is open. Inside, there's no food, just rows of teeth, lined up on the shelves like they're waiting for dinner. One of them clicks at you when you look too long. You close the fridge slowly, not sure it was ever a fridge at all. You call for your mom again, the real one, just her name. You whisper it. You don't even remember why you're whispering. Something behind the walls answers in a voice almost like hers. Almost. It says, "I'm still in here." And then it laughs. But it doesn't sound happy. It sounds broken, like glass underfoot. You keep walking. The house is breathing now. You feel it. The walls rise and fall. The windows twitch. You pass the bathroom. The mirror is covered in a sheet, but it's breathing too. You keep going. Your stuffed bear is in the hallway. You didn't bring him with you. He's just there, sitting up straight. His head turns when you pass. He says, "They're not in the house anymore." You freeze. They're underneath it. His button eyes don't blink. They're waiting for you to come down. You ask why. Your voice shakes. The bear says, "Because you're the last part. They can't leave without you." You reach the basement door. It's open now, but it was always locked. You remember that. You look down the steps, but there's no end. Just black. Thick black. Like it's breathing too. Something shifts below. Something big. Something slow. You hear them again, your fake parents. But their voices aren't upstairs. They're below. And they're singing. It's that same bedtime tune, but it's stretched out now. Slower. You hear your name in the song. They're calling for you. You take one step down, then another. The air smells wrong. Wet and metal, like old blood. The walls drip. You hear whispering all around you, but you can't see who's doing it. You feel watched. You feel known. At the bottom of the stairs, the floor moves. It's not a floor. It's skin, pale and stretched. You step on it and it twitches. Something beneath it knocks once, then again. The lights above you shut off. Your eyes adjust. There's a door in front of you. It's made of hair. Human hair. Braided together. Something is written on it in chalk. It says, "Do not open unless you remember." You don't know what that means. You touch the handle anyway. Before you can turn it, the bear speaks again. He's behind you now, but you didn't bring him. He says, "Once you open it, you're not a kid anymore." You open it. Inside, the room is empty. Almost. There's a chair in the middle. A woman sits in it. She has no eyes. Her mouth is sewn shut. She doesn't move, but you feel something in your chest shift. Something inside you remembers her. She smells like rain and soap, like home. You step closer. Her head turns toward you. The skin on her arms peels open, and hands crawl out. Dozens. Tiny hands, twitching and pulling at the air. She starts humming through her teeth. The door behind you slams shut. You turn around, and your fake parents are there. But their faces are wrong now, sliding off like wet paint. You scream, but nothing comes out. Not because you're scared, because your mouth won't open. You try to move, but your legs are stuck. You look down and see fingers wrapped around your ankles, growing from the floor. The bear whispers, "It's starting." The fake mom reaches for you. And then, everything goes black.